Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to this webinar where I'll try to update you with the new features we have came out with in Dynamicweb PIM in release 9.7. My name is Søren Jensen. I'm the product manager of PIM and I'm your speaker of today. All I will speak about is within our PIM module. They are part of our Dynamicweb all-in-one platform. Before I start presenting the new features in 9.7, I would like to have a short review on why choose PIM. And in general, we can say that there are three main functionalities in a PIM solution. And what you see on the screen here is that you have a powerful tool to get an overview, control, or validation of your product informations when they are in the enrichment task. The second thing is that you have flexible tools to enrich your product informations, but also in your enrichment, you have availability of making enrichment or inheriting of informations across categories or maybe in product families. So you only update the values or the informations that are needed in one place. Finally, the third thing is that you have a unique integration and distribution tools in the PIM solution. Now, integration is typically to the ERP system. They are typically the main source for a PIM solution, but there could also be other integration to sources. But definitely also the distribution part, that you have availability of distribute the approved data to the different distribution channels. And of course, these distribution formats that are needed for the channels should also be a part of the solution. So if you take an overall view of Dynamicweb PIM, our input sources are controlled by our data integration. And as some of you know, that we have a complete integration module or plugins for the ERP system from Microsoft Dynamics. That both AIX now, but also the D365 and Business Central. On the left-hand side, we have our distributions where we also use the data integration, but also the part of PIM called the channels and feeds, where you can define and set up feeds that meet the requirement for the different distribution channels. Again, a distribution channel could be a third-party websites, that could be a printing catalog produced in InDesign, online data pools, and maybe third-party marketplaces like Amazon, eBay, and so on. So we meet these requirements by using our data integration together with our channels and feeds functionality. And in the middle, you'll see, because we are placed on the all-in-one platform, we are directly connected to our e-commerce. So you can, within PIM, assign products directly to e-commerce without having any integration or data sharing between the two systems, because they are on the same platform. The same is done by the channels and feeds, and even the self-service portal, where users can get a login to access and download material from the products they are allowed to download from. All this access, of course, controlled by our user management system, where we can set up permissions and controlling how and where users can go into the different areas, what they can make changes on, and how they can manage the product and deliver the product to the different channels. And of course, all these things are supporting multiple languages and multiple currencies and countries and so on. So this is a drawing of how the PIM solution are working on the dynamic web all-in-one platform. Now, if we go into these three areas I mentioned in the beginning, we can say, how do we make the overview and control of the products? Now, what you see on the screen now is where we have on the upper left corner, we have an example of a dashboard. Dashboards can be set up as personal dashboards, but it can also be set up as a range of dashboard covering different areas you want to have an overview of. In the middle, you see an example of a query where you have different queries, maybe based on the workflow that have been defined, where you get the result of products that meet that query. But in the list or in the result, you can also get an information of the completeness. These are the colored buttons you have, yellow, green, and red, where you can immediately see what is the completeness of these products you have in your result list at the moment. Finally, in the bottom, you have what we call the dynamic structure, where you, based on a query, can make a structure based on attributes. So it makes it easier for the users to get an overview of maybe a huge list of products, split into maybe seasons, maybe into the type of products there are in this query. So this is how we give the overview to the users when they are working with a Dynamicweb PIM. Now, if we go to the second one, that was the enrichment tools. Now, there we have the possibility of going into products, selecting the languages, selecting the variants, and you have the full overview of the whole product in one page. You can select and deselect fields. Again, if you have a huge amount of fields, it could be useful if you're looking at technical fields or marketing fields or whatever kind of fields you want to have an overview of. Now, these values or field values can also be added in a bulk. So you can use a tool we call the bulk edit, where you can add equal fields across a huge amount of products or maybe internally in a product family. So it's very easy and very quick to get these information updated. Finally, of the enrichment tools, you can also extract the fields to an Excel sheet, make your update, or maybe even get field values from the supplier, where you can import them directly into your product and update the specific selected fields in the UI. And I will show that a little bit later on. So basically, these are the enrichment tools we have in Dynamicweb PIM. Finally, the third one is the integration part. Well, the integration to ERP or to different sources is done through our data integration. What you see on the screen here is more that when you have approved your products and your products are ready to be distributed to certain channels, you can then, within the PIM, directly see your channel structures. You can assign your products to the structure. You can set up feeds, and there could be different feeds for each channel, so you can support and meet the requirements you have for the specific distribution network. There could be that you're in a partner network, need to distribute different formats. That could be XML to some of the partners and maybe JSON to some other of the partners. But then you can set up feeds with these two requirements pointing to the same channel, so the different partners or users will get the same type of data, but just in different formats. It's easy and quick to set up. Another format that could be set up is an export to a Excel or CSV file. Can also be handled and controlled in the channel feeds. So basically, these were the short review of Dynamicweb PIM. And why you should choose a PIM solution, or the three main functionalities in PIM solutions. Now I'll dive into the new features we have released in our 9.7 release. Now I have pointed out these 5 key features. I will dive more into details and explain and how to use them and how they can be set up. There are a couple of other features added in 9.7, and I will shortly show them at the end, but these will be the 5 key features I will go in depth with in this presentation. Now, if we take the first one, as I mentioned, one of the way we can give the users an overview and control of the products is by using our dashboards functionality. And in 9.7, we have added multiple dashboards. So instead of having the personal dashboard we had in 9.6 and before, we have added the possibility of having multiple dashboards assigned to the solution. Now, these dashboards can be controlled by the user permissions. That means you can make some dashboards that should only be available for a certain group of persons, or maybe some shared dashboards that should go across on a personal wise or maybe organizations wise in the company. So again, the dashboards setup have been made more flexible and more intuitive in the 9.7. Now I will now switch to my demo system and show you how can you work with these dashboards. So what you see here now on the screen is a dashboard and my personal dashboard. Each time you go to the PIM module, as I do here, you will get your personal dashboard on the screen. That's the first thing that will meet you when you click on the PIM icon. Now, if I go to the dashboards here, you can see I have get this arrow on the left-hand side. If I open that, you can see I have now access to 3 more dashboards. So I have a dashboard for workflows, a dashboard for validations, and dashboards for channels. So the new things with dashboards is that we not only have the personal dashboard now, we have a list of dashboards that have been set up on the system. Now, how do we maintain that? If you go to settings and go to the editing and go to my dashboards, you can see it's not only PIM. You are available to set up multiple dashboards. It can also be done on e-commerce and monitoring and so on. But if I go to my PIM area, you can then see I have my PIM dashboards, my default dashboards, and that's basically the main setup for the default dashboards for all users that will be created on the system. So they will automatically get this default dashboard as their personal dashboard. And then I have defined these channels and validation and workflow dashboards. And if you look at this one, you can see I have a long list of counter widgets on this dashboard. And if I want to reset all dashboards on all users or user groups, I can reset this from this central place here, if needed. And again, I can add all the dashboards I want and make changes, management on the dashboards from this central location. Now, if I go back to my PIM overview, my dashboards, you can see that I have this personal one. If I go to this workflow one, it's just the 5 workflow states I have on my system. I can go to validation one, and now you can see that I have a validation of images, global attributes, and then I have 3 languages I have set up that I want to know how many languages are not translated. You can see in the Dutch one, I have 120 products that have not been translated. I have 140 products that are not translated to French. Now, all Danish products are translated, but one of the products have a missing attribute compared to the Danish language. So that's the one, and I can then say that what I'm missing on this product, I'm missing my description and my teaser text. And that's one of the mandatory fields in this validation on the languages. Now, it could also be that I want to have certain products that are active for publishing, but they have missing images. So I can click on that, and I can see that these products do not have any images attached to the products. So then I can start attaching images if I want. And the third one could be some global attributes that maybe are inherent across languages. I can see that these products have some of the fields that are missing. I can click on this button and get a message of that this is my material field. They are missing on these products, or this product, and maybe another thing on this product. So there's both the teaser text and the description. So again, you can see that it's very easy to get an overview of what are missing and what to do with it. Another one could be this dashboard, where I have 5 channels on my system. I can see the amount of products I have in each channel. I maybe go to my, I have 11 products on a partner channel. 17 of them have missing fields, 1 or more fields. I can look at them and I can see which fields are missing. You can see this is the EIN, that's the supplier number, and these fields are required for the partner network. And the same thing with my printing catalog. If I want to distribute the data to InDesign, well, some of these fields, or some of these products have missing fields. So this one is missing the material, and the other one have missing also the material. So again, the dashboards are made for giving the users a very quick and an easy overview of what is the status right now on the products in a specific channel. Another features we have get in the dashboards is that if I make changes on my personal dashboard, you can see I get this message down here that dashboard has been customized, because you can still go into a dashboard and you can make changes to the dashboard. I can add widgets and whatever I want. But if I get to a certain point saying that, oh, I have made a lot of changes, I want to get back to my default dashboard, then I can just go in here and say, I want to reset my dashboard, my personal dashboard, back to the default dashboard there on the system. And that's it. And now you can see I have a lot more columns on these 2 widgets. So that's also a new features we get on the dashboard. Now, that was the dashboard. Continue to the next one. We have made a new import of products directly into our PIM solution. Now, typically, if you have to import products in the previous versions of our PIM, you have to do it through the data integration. Now we have added a UI so we can select a raw file from the customer or maybe the supplier and read it directly into the system. That could both be read it in as you could say onboarding products, new products, but it could also be read in and updating existing products. Now, let me show it. Go in here, go to my warehouse. Go into my warehouse here. I have an onboarding product data. See, now I have a folder here. It's empty. I say import products. I select my file. I can upload the file here. I have done it already, so I have one here. I press next. It tells me that it's an Excel file. I could define my import configurations, or I can save import configurations, but at the moment I'll just say next. Then I get this information that they had selected my Excel provider. I have this source file, and then I can select which sheet in my Excel file do I want to import. I take all bytes. I can make a preview on it similar to what you can do in Excel. If you import a CSV file to Excel, I can recognize these column names. I can press next, and there we'll get to a mapping page. And then I can start with, these are the columns I have in my Excel file. Then I can start pointing out my item number should go into my product number. My product title should go into my product name. Coming here. And maybe this breaks should go into my category field, breaks. And this one go into my category field, cassette, and so on, so on. Then I can just map it down here. When finished, I just say, I can save it if I know I will get a file from this supplier later on or whatever. Then I can save this setting, or I can just say run, import it now. So then you start, read the Excel file, import it into this folder, and it's done successfully, finish, and there's all your products. Now, as you saw, I just selected a few fields. So if I want to import all these things or update all these things with all the fields I have in the Excel file, I can just take it again, select my file, then I have a pre-selected where I say all custom Excel, all fields. So there I have selected all my fields. I take the sheet all box again. Now you can see all my fields are mapped in this setting. I say run. And now all the products I just imported before will now be updated with all the values on all the fields. And you can see it's quite fast. Finish. If I go in, there you can see all the fields are now filled in. Even the marketing fields with my teaser text and description. So a very powerful tool where you, with a UI or guided UI, you can select the file, decide which fields should be mapped into the system, and then import all the data. So the next one is a new control panels for image handling. As some of you know that we introduced the image handling or management on products for a couple of versions ago. We had added more functionality to them, and we now have decided to make an image control panel. That means you have a window that opens up, and there you can maintain all the things about the images. So let's make an example. I'll show it in the demo system. I go to my warehouse. I go into an area where I have imported some new products. As you can see here, there are no images on it. I take this product family down here with 4 variants. It's been translated. I have all the information, but I do not have any images on it. Now, instead of have all these categories, as you know, you can define in the system, we just have showing the categories that are filled in with assets. Now, there will always be one of them because you have this reg. If I open that, you can then see I have this image panel. Then I can say, now I want to add images. I can go to my image area, I make search, and there we are. There meet all the images that are something with Terry on it. Then I can say, I want to select this main image, I want to select these 2 drawings, and I have these 2 events I want to add. I can select them, and then I can decide that my drawings should go into my drawing category. Oops. There we are. And these 2 event images should go to my event category. And this one should go to my details. There we are. And this one should be my default. Save and close. And then you can see that these images are now represented on the product. And as you can see on the languages, they are grayed out because they are inherited from the default. And also on the variants, the images are inherited across. If I then want to set a specific image on this particular variant, I can go in, say add this image, or add the image to this variant. This is the one that made the product number. I set it to my default and save and close. And as you may know, this one I now set as my main product image. And if I want to add another drawings to this one, I can go in and say add drawings. I can go to my image area and say I want also these two drawings for the Danish language. Then it will be appended to the Danish language, but not the German. So the whole image management are controlled in here. If I take this one and say I want to add new event images, maybe in the south of Germany, we have mountains. So we want to have these mountains event images instead of the two on the flat area. I can select and save and close. And there we are. Then with this rule in this category, it will remove the default images and just put in these two. And if I want to change the sort order, I can just take there, save it again, then I change my sort order. So as you can see, the images panel are extended with more functionality and flexibility on the handling of images assets. The next one is channels and feeds. Now, the channels and feeds is where you control and maintain the products that go into certain distribution channels. That could be into a partner network. That could maybe be to a huge retail organization where you have to deliver data with a specific format into that organization. But mainly, what you do with the channels and feeds is that you can create a channel, you can create a structure in the channel to meet the requirement from the distribution channel or to the partners you want to deliver to. And then you can define your feeds you want to deliver the data through. That could be XML, that could be JSON, and again, that could be Excel or CSV. Now, one of the new things in the channels are that you can now, in the feed UI, you can select and maintain each individual field. In the previous version, you can maintain the group of fields, but in the new one, you can go in and maintain and select individual fields on the products you want to go through that feed. Now, let's show. I'll take this one. On my system here, I have 3 channels. I have an Amazon channel, I have a partner feed channel, and I have a printing catalog channel. Now, I'll be focusing on the partner channel and the printing catalog channel. So you can see my partner channel is quite simple structure. It's just bikes, clothing, components, and accessories. And then the news, but there are these 4 main categories. Now, if I take my main catalog, it's maybe separated into bikes, clothing, shoes, and accessories. So it's another structure because this is how we want to produce our main catalog. And we use that when you distribute the data to InDesign, to Easy Catalog, as a Easy Catalog maintaining the data. Now, I have these products in here, and if I go to my feeds area, I can then go to my JSON feed. This section in the top is more or less the same as you have in the previous versions, but we get down here, you will then see we have now possibility of selecting individual product system fields. These are the product system fields, and these are the selected. I have a list of product custom fields. I have selected these for this feed. I have product category fields. I have selected them all. I have prices. I have selected these price informations to my feed. So you can see I can select and deselect these informations or these fields I want to go out on this feed. And finally, I also have some variant combinations. So I can more in details select what kind of informations do I want to be in the feed I send out to this distribution channel. So then I can just click on it, and there you see the result. This is the feed in the JSON format. And if I take the other one, saying partner feed XML, exactly the same fields I have selected. Now I have just chosen an XML feed provider. And with the XML feed provider, it's possible for me to design XSLT style sheet for formatting the XML. I press return, and there you can see I get an XML formatted file instead. It's the same data, it's just the JSON format or a JSON format. And finally, if I go to my printing catalog, I have different feeds for extracting data from my printing catalog, the structure here. And there you can see I have one called Easy Catalog. So that's for distributing data to Easy Catalog within an InDesign document. And as you may know, Easy Catalog can call the URL directly, and you can do the same here. You can, within Easy Catalog, instead of downloading the XML file, you can call this feed here and extract and maintain the data directly from this feed. You don't have to download anything. The Easy Catalog will automatically connect to the feed, get the data, and structure it into their data panel. So basically the new things are this maintaining of the fields in feeds and make it more flexible and also more intuitive for the users to set up which fields do we want to have in this feed. Now we get to a new thing we call the reference fields. This is a new type of fields we can define in our category field grouping. Now, seen on the screen here, you can see that I have shown it on a facet on the front page where you have this basic material. But basically, these fields are made as reference fields. That means instead of having a field for each category, you have defined some central field as a reference field, and then you can link the field and the field values into the specific categories where you want to use these field informations or field values. Now let's make an example. Go back to the demo site. I go to my settings. I go to my, there we are, into my category area. And there you can see I have one here called reference fields. If I go to my reference fields, you can see that I have these two, and the one you should focusing on is the basic material. Now the basic material is a list box field with these values. Now this field are linked into my wheels. You can see it here. It's also linked into my equipment, see it here, and into my frames, see it down here. So when I go to PIM and go to my warehouse where I have my bikes, I can go in here, select the product, and you can see if I switch to my technical fields, you can see that I have my basic material here. And I could say that this bike is maybe aluminium, made out of aluminium, save it. But if I go to my components, to my wheels, you will also see that I, on my wheels category fields, have these fields. So that's the same field that appear in multiple category groups. So that means, sorry, that when I, in my front end, maybe want to have a facet that go across values within these category groups, I can just make it on my reference field down here. I say I want to see carbon or products that have basic material as carbon. And there you can see that it go across my frames, my wheels, and my bikes. Similar to that, you have three fields on these three categories. Now, if I want to add or make changes to this particular field, I can go into my reference field and say I want now to add a new value. We take nylon. Nylon. I say save. I can make a show usage to say where are these fields represented, and you can see it's represented in my equipment, frames, and wheels. Now I also want this one to be represented in my saddles. So I go to my saddle down here, and I want to add a field. So I say add field. Instead of typing in, as you know from the category fields, I can just say I want to select the reference field. I select my basic material. All these fields are filled out, also with the new nylon. And I decide that this field should be represented in my field group, all fields, and in my technical field groups. So this is where they're represented in my PIM and where I can maintain the values. I save and close, go to my PIM area, and now I'll take my components, and I take my other, and I take my saddles, go in here, and there you can see my fields, where I have the new nylon. So I can say this saddle have the frame made on carbon, and maybe the not leather, but the textile you're using there is my nylon. I save it, go to my next. Maybe say this one is steel and it's leather. I save and continue to the next. I'll say maybe this one is carbon and it's leather. Save. Go to next, and we'll take the last one saying leather and carbon. Save and close. So now I've just added this material to this new group of product categories. If I go back to my front page again, make a refresh, you will then see that now I have these in my list because I'm searching on all products across structure. Then I can say I want to see all products that have the carbon set. And there you can see my 3 saddles. Or I can say that I want to see all my products that have leather in the basic material. These are the one. And maybe nylon, these are the one. So as you can see, I can build facets on these reference fields. So it makes more flexible and easier to set up complex data models in our PIM system. The last one I want to show here is automatically generate of PDF. As you may know, we have added that. That's not directly in PIM, but it's in our digital warehouse, in Rapido digital warehouse. Again, that's a part of the PIM solution. So if I log in here, you will see that I'm logged into a digital warehouse now. I can go to my products, take my bikes, maybe go to my product here, and then I can say generate PDF. So there I can select between a sales sheet or technical sheet. If I take the sales sheet, generate PDF, it's coming here. And this is the style of my sales sheet with images and text and so on. If I take the technical one, there will be more technical information that will be generated for that. Coming here, there we are. And see there are more technical details with just one image. Now it could also go to my cart where I have selected an amount of products, saying that I want now to generate a PDF catalog. So I can take details or a list. So I take a product list and take the English language, submit, and now it will generate a catalog with the styling we have set up for printing, for generating PDF within the cart, and with this result. Or we could also say that I want to generate a PDF catalog within a channel, and basically this is a catalog generated out of products that are linked to our printing channel with a front page and a back page. So we run out of time, but just a quick look at some of the other improvements that have been made in 9.7. For maintaining Enrich, there are a couple of things. You can maintain now prices, stocks, discounts, and whatever directly from PIM. You can we have added shortcuts. That means you can, with shortcuts, Control S, arrow right, arrow left, you can switch in between products. You can save products without using your mouse. Added some functions to combine. Search and navigate have been added new functionalities, new validation possibilities, and also you can maintain your queries. You can copy and move it across users and organizations and folder structures. In workflow completeness, again been extended with new validations, and with maintaining of completeness, you can show users and you can see where are these complete rules, where are they linked to give a better overview. And finally, history and auditing, there have been added and improved functionalities to there. That was all. If you want to know more, you can go to our doc site, read more about the new features in 9.7. There are the complete list of the new features we have delivered in 9.7. And if you have time, you can, on the November the 11th, hear more about how to use the PIM channels and feeds and what we should use it for. On this webinar, I will also show the integration to InDesign Easy Catalog, how you can maintain your product or fit the product from the channel directly in Easy Catalog. So hopefully I'll see you the November 11th, and thank you for today.